the baby stage so much. Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls, episode 122. And on this show, I interview leading social media, digital marketers, entrepreneurs, business owners, and they come here and share with us their best practices and strategies so that you and I, all of us, we can future-proof our business. And today, I am so excited. I can barely contain my excitement. As you can see my face, like my hands all over the place. And we have the one and only Neil Patel to be on the show and to share with us, to talk about SEO and how we can rank high and higher on Google. And I have been waiting for this interview since you said yes to me. And I have been a fan of Neil for quite a few years. I love his YouTube channel, blog articles here and there. So this almost feels like surreal to have almost a face-to-face conversation. And you are going to walk away from today's interview with a much better understanding of SEO and how to do SEO in 2020 and how to craft eye-catching headlines, and also a much better understanding of Uber Suggest, which I have been playing with for quite a few months, and so much more. But we are live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope. We already have quite a few people here. Let me know in the comment section where you guys are joining us live from. But just in case you don't know who is Neil, and he is my all-time go-to person in terms of SEO, content marketing, and how to rank on Google. And he's also the co-founder at Neil Patel Digital and a New York Times Bestselling author. And he is the top 10 marketer according to Forbes, a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30, ranked by our former President Obama, and also a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 35 by United Nations. And there's so much more to what he does. So I can't wait to dive into the topic. And welcome to the show, Neil.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, really honored. And so we already have quite a few people here, and you recently had a baby, right? So how old is your baby?
She is a year old now.
Oh my God, congratulations. I love following on Instagram, seeing some baby pictures. Really cute. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's dive into the topic. And today we're talking about SEO. So what do you think, SEO has been here for quite a few years. And what do you think are some common misperceptions that people have in terms of SEO, especially in 2020?
Yeah, the big misconception that people have is to do really well, you need to optimize for Google. When you're starting off, yes, Google is important. You need your website compatible for Google, but Google has shifted. So years and years ago, it used to be if you put keywords in your web page, you'll rank really high. Yes, keywords still matter, but it's not as simple as just putting keywords or getting other websites to link to you. If they link to you, you would rank high really quickly. See, Google's really sophisticated now. They're looking at things like user experience. Are people landing on your webpage and bouncing back? How does your page compare to the competitors? Which one provides a better user experience? What are things like your bounce rates versus the competitors? What's your time on sites, page view per visitor? They're trying to figure out what does users prefer and show that first. Another metric that they look at that a lot of people don't think about is brands. Google knows that if you have a really strong brand that people love and adore, you should rank higher because people have strong affinity for that brand, right? When they have strong affinity for that brand, there's something there. So they're using metrics that humans would consider when thinking about, do I like this site? Or, hey, do I prefer another website?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we already have like 40 people here live. Thank you so much, everyone, literally from all over the globe. I love that. And branding, association, affiliation with the brands, it is something that most people don't really think about when it comes to SEO. And another common question, like at least I have, is like almost every single person I know has a blog, has a podcast, has a live streaming show. There is so much content. And is it still possible to rank high, in top 10 on Google, like in this day and age?
It definitely is. You can always rank on Google. The key is, can you create a better product, a better service, better content for the users? And you can. If you look at a lot of the sites that rank, they haven't updated their content, the quality isn't as good. You can still do very well with SEO. It's highly profitable. You just got to put in the effort. Before, it used to be much easier. Now you have to put in work, and you have to do what's best for users if you want to rank in the long run.
Yeah. So you have been in this space for, oh my gosh, a few decades, right? Like 2 decades. And so based on your experience, how long does it take? A year, half a year for us to rank high, top 10 on Google?
So for easy keywords that aren't too competitive, it's less than a year, somewhere between 6 months and a year.
Wow.
For more competitive keywords, you're looking at a year plus. But even though it may take a year or 6 months or a year plus, it doesn't mean you won't see results in between. You'll start seeing your rankings increase, your traffic slowly climbing, but you'll start seeing results within 3 months of doing SEO. You may not get the traffic you want, you may not get the sales you want, but in general, it gets better and better over time.
Well, and this is on the assumption that we actually show up on a regular basis, right? We know what we're talking about. The content is good.
Correct.
Yeah, and I kind of want you, everyone, if you have questions, my dear friend Peter and is monitoring everyone's questions. I'm having a hard time catching up with all the questions. Feel free to tag Peter, and Peter will send me the questions, and we are going to try to answer as many questions as possible. And so one question, like I recently noticed that Google has this Google Mobile First Index. So what is that? Explain that to us.
So currently, or if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, or not even 4 or 5, if you go back like 7, 8 years ago, we weren't using phones as much for searching and devices. Now an iPhone in some cases can cost more than a computer. Okay. And because of the popularity of these smartphones, now everyone's using them almost like a computer to search. Over 60% of the searches on Google are done from mobile phones.
Oh, wow.
Because of that, Google said, you know what? Most people are using mobile phones. Let's create an index for mobile websites, because not all desktop websites are compatible with mobile phones. Maybe they don't load fast enough. Maybe the experience isn't as good because you can't show as much on a small mobile screen. So they created a mobile index, so that way it's a better experience for anyone who's searching Google using a mobile phone.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Actually, like I was using Uber Suggest, which I'm going to share my screen in a second, everyone. It's a really amazing tool if you haven't discovered the tool yet. So I was using Uber Suggest, and I noticed that for my particular website, and it loads like 7 seconds slower on my mobile phone compared to my desktop. So is that a problem I should be concerned about, or that's pretty common across the board?
You would want to try to get it faster and faster. If you don't, you won't get as much traffic in the long run.
Oh, wow, that's interesting to know. So I'm definitely going to work on my mobile. So let's like as I mentioned, Uber Suggest, and I'm going to share my screen in a second because quite a few of my questions are actually related to Uber Suggest. So maybe you can explain to us what is Uber Suggest, why did you build this, and what is it about?
Sure. So Uber Suggest is a free SEO tool. There's a free version. There's a paid version, of course, as well. And it just helps people find keywords, improve their SEO, grow their traffic. In essence, it helps you rank higher on Google. And I built it because there's a lot of tools out there for agencies and big corporations, but I wanted to build a really simple to use tools for small and medium businesses.
Awesome. So let me share my screen. Everyone, let me know if you can see my screen. And we are talking about Uber Suggest. And so share with us and what are some of the unique features and Uber Suggest. I want to talk about keyword search. And so should we use an example to best explain this?
Sure. So you can just type in a keyword like marketing or
okay.
education. You
So because
can
I'm in the
education.
education
Education's
space.
fine. That one works, and just hit search, and you should see data on a keyword. You reach your daily limit. No
Oh,
worry. And then if you scroll down, you'll see data on keywords. There's a daily limit. I'm assuming you use it multiple times today, but
yes.
so we do this because of bots. Our server costs went up by a few $100,000 a month just because of people scraping the data. But in essence, what it does, and you can see on the screen, is it'll tell you ideas for keywords and what's popular and what's not. SEO difficulty is how hard it is to rank on Google for that term. Paid difficulty is how hard it is to pay for that ad. And it tells you even how many people search for it on mobile or desktop devices.
Yeah, so like, oh, sorry to interrupt you.
But funny enough, most people use it for the keyword features. So for keyword research. And then there's a free Chrome extension called Uber Suggest that you can check out as well in the Chrome store. And it'll give you that data as you're searching Google.
Very interesting. I'm going to show my screen in a second. So like you kind of already explained. So in terms of, everyone wants to rank higher on Google. So we should definitely consider like all of them, right? Like search volume and SEO difficulty and paid. So can you kind of explain the connections among all those factors? Which one is more important? Which one should we prioritize? If we are kind of a solopreneur, most people join us live, they are small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yep. Okay, so the first one I want you to look at is cost per click on the right side. That's how much someone pays for an ad per click. The higher that number, that means the more likely that keyword doesn't just drive visitors, but the visitors convert into customers. Because if you only pay a penny per click, it means the keyword doesn't make you that much money. But if you pay $5, now you know those visitors are worth a lot. So the higher that number, the better. And on the left side is volume. The more a keyword is searched, the better as well. Because that means the more traffic you can get. And of course, the other metric to pay attention to that's really important is SEO difficulty. The lower the number, the better it is, because it's easier to rank. It's a score from 0 to 100. Anything 40 or under is really easy to rank for.
Okay. So like, let's say that if the number, because I was actually playing with this for quite a few weeks already. So if the number is like 10 or like 0, does that mean like we should avoid using that word? Like nobody's
No. That means it's easy to rank for.
Okay.
That means you can rank for it quicker. Remember, you asked how long does it take to see results?
Yes.
The lower the number, the easier and faster you can rank for. If it's like 0 or 5 or 10, you may be able to rank for the keyword within a few months or a month. But then you still need to look at cost per click, because if the cost per click is 0, that means the keyword doesn't generate revenue for many people, so they're not willing to pay for it.
Interesting. Yeah. And did you already? We already go over this. Very interesting. And so earlier I mentioned, and I was looking at
and actually, one area to click on instead of here, if you go back into your search bar in Google, up top in Google, in Chrome,
oh yeah,
type in Google page speed. Click on the first result, page speed insights.
oh yeah, I already added as
you have my
Chrome
extension as well, so you can see all the data. So you can use the extension and you can get tons of data for free. But click on page speed insights.
oh here,
The first one up.
Yeah.
One up.
Oh, did I miss the first one? Okay, here. Oh.
And then if you put in your URL there, any URL.
Oh, it's mine here.
And then click analyze. The goal is to make your site load as fast as possible. Not here. You have to wait till this gets to 100. This is super important that a lot of people don't do.
Wow, it's really cool.
It'll tell you if your site is loading slow, fast, and the key is to get it to load as fast as possible. Now, don't worry about the analyzing part where it says, 84% or 85% or however long that takes. It's more so once it gets to 100, it'll tell you what you need to do to improve your speed. And it'll give you a score. And your goal is to get to like 100 or A+. I don't know if it's numbers based.
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed to show my number.
No. This is not bad. Don't be embarrassed. This is okay. We can all improve.
Definitely. And I use ClickFunnels to build my website. I don't know if that's like a good thing or bad thing.
Yeah, so this is saying your score is 26. The goal is to get to green, which would be 90 out of 100.
Oh my God.
But that's okay. If you scroll down, it'll tell you what to fix and what the issues are. And I want you to think about it this way. If you're at a 26, you may look at that as, oh my God, I have so much wrong. But if you're already doing okay, a 26 means you have so much room to improve and your business can grow and get better and better.
Wow,
You
this
get
is
what
so
I mean?
cool. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally.
So even if there's a lot wrong, that's okay. That means you have a lot of opportunity to grow and make more money and get more traffic.
Wow, this is again how did we get to this place? And this is really cool. I didn't even know this. Let me know in the comment section, everyone, if you actually know this. So how did we get here?
You just Google page speed and it's the first result.
Yeah, and so this is Uber suggests. I really love this. Actually, I have this. I also have keyword everywhere, so I always make a comparison. So really interesting. I highly recommend everyone download the extension. It's free. Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you.
Let me, and we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the Uber suggest page. So I want to talk. Overall, we have questions coming, and I'm going to address some of the questions soon. So I want to talk about headlines. And I think for me, probably many people could resonate with me. And when I'm searching something on Google, I only look at the headlines and to make a decision. Do I want to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes to read the article, to watch the video? So it is very hard, I feel like, to get a really compelling, eye-catching headline. And I love in your training, you recently did a training, SEO Unlocked, and I'm going to share the link in the comment section. Everyone should check it out. And you actually give us a formula to write eye-catching and headlines. So do you remember that? So can you share the formula with us? I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, so there's an interesting stat. 8 out of 10 people will read your headlines. Only 2 out of 10 will click through and read the rest of your article. So it just shows that the majority of the money is being spent on headlines. And there's many different things that you can do, from evoking curiosity. Evoking curiosity is like the 7 benefits of green tea. Number 6 will shock you. You're like, oh, what is number 6? Right? But in there, I break down many different ways you can create a headline. And the reason I break down many different ways is it's different for every business. It's different for every kind of article you want to write, whether it's how-to articles or list-oriented articles. And I share stats on data on what works and what's the best. But if you go to neilpatel.com/training, you can end up seeing the modules on content. It's under SEO Unlocked. It's free. And I give you worksheets that'll help you create your headlines and see what's popular out on the social web and what you can copy. And I break it all down for free. And I believe it is under module 3. It's in module 3. Sorry about that.
Or module
one more down. There you go. Module 3. So that's where I break down all the content stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So if I remember everything you mentioned, so definitely check out the website. Let me share the link to the website in the comment section, or maybe Peter can help share. And actually, in the article, you give us the formula, and I actually have it on my notebook, which is a number of trigger words, and then plus adjective, plus keyword, and plus promise. I love that. And in the training, you give us a really good example, which is selling and purchasing houses. So I wonder if you can give us an example to kind of illustrate how this formula works. Number of trigger words, adjective, and keyword, and promise. I feel like I finally cracked the code. This is like amazing.
Go for it. Tell me what you cracked, and I'll critique you. But I know what you're talking about, even with the home example, and I talk about how you can quickly sell a home. But yes, why don't you go for it? Because I'm curious to see your headlines that you're coming up with, and I'd love to give you feedback.
I love how you put me on spot. I love it. And so I like recently I actually wrote an article, because I'm kind of in the alternative education space. And so my article is titled how to homeschool effectively or how to do homeschooling effectively. So based on this formula, I can change it to 10 ways to do homeschooling easier in like 10 months or something like that.
Yes. The one thing you have to watch out with the formula, and this is the big mistake a lot of people make, because there's so many sections to it, sometimes the headlines get too long. So you just want to make sure they don't get too long.
Yeah. I think you were talking about, is there an ideal length, like 4 or 5 or 6 words?
It's not always like 6, 7 words as well, but it's not always that way because sometimes words are really long, sometimes they're shorter. But the reason we find that making them short and to the point does better, because whenever you do a Google search, you see a headline. And if the headline is too long, Google cuts it off and it puts a ... So then it can affect your search traffic. So you want to make sure that you have a good headline, but it's also not too long where it gets cut off.
Yeah, I love that. And we have so many questions coming up, everyone, because it's very hard for me to monitor the questions and have an intellectual discussion with a very smart person. So please forgive me, and I'm a little bit slow right
you're
now.
doing fine. I don't know if I'm that smart, but you're doing fine.
Definitely smarter than me, I feel like. So Ella, thank you for joining us live from the UK. And she asked you if you recommend using Answer the Public, which is something I use all the time. And so do you recommend that in terms of researching headlines?
Yes, it's a good tool. What I love using is Quora, because in Quora you can see what's really popular that people love.
Yeah,
and it's based on votes, right? So it's like it's an easy way to see what resonates with people.
Look at that, right? I agree. Wicked smart. Yes, I love that. So interesting. I want to follow up on this. You were talking about Quora again in the course. You were also talking about Wikipedia. I never thought like Wikipedia as a place I go to search for keywords. Like, why is that? So explain that to us.
Sure. So like in the course, I break down when I talk about the United States, and with Wikipedia, it'll tell you other things related to United States, such as the Statue of Liberty, the Star Spangled Banner, our flags, how many states we have, right? So it'll break down all the other sections, because when you look at Wikipedia, it has a table of contents, and it'll break down any topic into subtopics based on what's most important and what people want. So that'll give you an idea of keywords, phrases, and topics that you could be going after as well.
Yeah, really interesting. And I like after I watched your training, I actually started to be more active on like Wikipedia and see what are some of the words that have been mentioned more frequently, like alternative school or like education model is broken. So to me, those are signals that people want to learn more about them. So I think that's a really great like recommendation. Now, how about Google Trends?
Google Trends is great. The thing about Google Trends is, I'm sorry, I didn't have a good night's sleep because my daughter woke up one too many times.
I remember those days.
I'm getting used to it though, but some days are better than others. But yesterday I was up for like 4 hours at night. I was like, she woke up and then she's like, I want to play.
Oh my God.
But and nonetheless, okay, so the problem with Google Trends is it's great, but it's not always in real time. When you look at the maps of something going over time, what Trends is really useful for is to see what's popular right now. So there's two main sections of Google Trends. One is you can put it in a keyword and it shows you how it's doing over time. Is it going up? Is it down? Is it growing in popularity? Is it decreasing? Another section of Trends is it'll show you what's popular right now. I love using Trends to figure out what's popular right now because that's in real time, while the data showing, the graph line.
I wish I could give you some coffee.
Not just coffee. I wish I can get extra, instead of 4 hours of sleep, or technically 3 hours of sleep last night, I wish I could get 6. And with the trend line, it doesn't always update in real time, but the trends on or the real-time data on what's being searched right now, that stuff does really well.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Like I use Google Trends a lot to see what is trending, at least the the last several weeks, homeschooling has become really popular. So I was able to tap into that. And so here's a question from Lori. Thank you so much for joining us live. And so she asked, what are your top 3 things that we can do right now to really improve our SEO? Like, I think, actionable tips that we can apply. Yeah.
Okay, so number 1, most people don't know this, but there's over 7 billion blogs in the world. Right? Or actually, sorry, there's over 1 billion blogs in the world. That's roughly 1 blog for every person out, 7 people out there, right? Because there's roughly 7 billion people. So do we think we need 1 blog for every 7 people? No. There's too much content for Google to choose from. So the first tip I have for you is you already have a website. You already have content. Spend a lot of time updating your content and making sure it's relevant. This, and by updating it and keeping it, frequently new, what you'll find is it'll keep ranking higher and higher over time. The second tip I have for you is take your website and create image-based content. So what I mean by that is, like, there's infographics. You can use Canva, you can use Infogram to create visually appealing content without being a designer. People love linking to it, sharing it on the social webs. When you do all of that, you'll get more traffic to your site and a lot of links, which end up boosting your rankings in the long run. Then the next one that I would recommend is, third, last but not least, fix your on-site errors. There's a lot of people who have on-site errors, and it's a lot of little things, and you're like, oh, my site is optimized. But here's the thing. If you add new pages, you make changes to your site, which we all do, you can also introduce new errors. So like if you're running on WordPress, you can use the Yoast SEO plugin or Rank Math. These are all simple ways. Shopify has some plugins as well, or extensions that help with SEO. But most of these solutions are pretty SEO friendly out of the box.
Those are some really great tips. I really love the one you mentioned, revisit our old contents. How often do you actually update your earlier content?
So I don't update it myself much, but my team does. I have a team of 3 people who just update content every day.
Wow, you are a content creation machine. I love, actually, let's talk about this right now. So in the course, you also mentioned supercharged content. And
Yep.
I feel like every piece of content you have produced is supercharged. So for those who are not familiar with the term, explain what is supercharged content.
Yeah, so during the course, I talked about supercharged content, and we have a framework for supercharged content, and we even talk about a kite and Edison and electrocution. We have some cool graphics that go along with it that the team created. But the key with supercharged content is just creating content that people love, does well, gets a lot of backlinks, is shared. And in the free course, SEO Unlocked, it's 100% free. You don't have to even put in an email. There's a template that you can download that teaches you how to create supercharged content step by step.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing. So do you recommend, I assume, for a piece of supercharged content, you have videos, like images, infographics, really thorough, like it takes lots of time, right? I'm sure. So do you recommend that we like, for those of us, we don't have a team. So do you recommend that we really work hard to make sure that every piece of content is a supercharged piece of content, or only select a few, kind of really talk about our business, our methodology, and have a few kind of signature pieces of content, and to make sure they're really good?
So I would first start off with a few pieces, and then eventually your goal should be to try to get all your content to be supercharged. It's going to be hard to do that, but start off with a few and then go from there. Because it's impossible to do them all up front and at once, but you can start off with a few.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so surprised to hear you only have 3 people on your team, because I feel like with the amount of content you are producing, at least 5 or 7 or 10 people. Like all the articles are very long and really thorough, and YouTube videos.
But I only write 1 article a week, and I write it every either Saturday or Sunday. Whenever I get time, I'll write the article, and then I publish it on Tuesday. So it's not too bad.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And I saw a question from someone, earlier we were talking about writing headlines, and because Google also owns YouTube. So do the tips you shared with us, like promise, adjectives, make it interesting. Also, can those tips also be applied to creating titles for YouTube videos, or they kind of work very differently?
Well, with YouTube, it works very similar, but there's a few other things that you need to know about YouTube that most people don't know, because YouTube SEO and getting traffic on YouTube is very different than traditional SEO. So first, YouTube is about what did very well right when the video came out, because if it did really well and is popular then YouTube wants to make it popular in the long run and keep it popular. So the key is when you publish a video, you have a very catchy a thumbnail so people want to click. So think of that as like your headline. The second thing is, how can you end up promoting the video really hard right when the video comes out? So that could be something as simple as doing an email blast to your list about the video. Another thing you could do is a push notification. Another thing you can do is share that video on Twitter and other social sites and tweet it out. So little things like that will help the video do much better. So even if your headline isn't perfect with YouTube, it's about how many views can you get in the first hour, 24 hours, that'll determine how it does in the long run.
Yeah, it reminds me of, on LinkedIn, the very first hour makes a big difference. So on YouTube, it's like the very first 24 hours, right? We want to make sure that
Yes.
promote as much as possible. And so here's a question from Monica, and thank you for joining us live. I think she was talking about what you asked earlier. Why do we want to, I guess, like our website to load as fast as possible? So what are the core benefits?
Yeah, the reason you want to end up having your website load as fast as possible is because it creates a better user experience. One, you get more conversions. Two, people prefer fast loading websites where they bounce away because no one wants to wait. And because people prefer that, Google ranks it higher and gets you more traffic as well.
Yeah, I know, like speaking from my personal experience, and if a website takes like five, I'm talking about my
Yeah,
own, you
you're
just feel
gonna
like,
leave and go somewhere else.
exactly. Yeah. And so here's another question from my dear friend Ross. Thank you for joining us live. And so he asked, what are some common issues that kind of slowing down the website? Actually, I'm curious why it is slower on my mobile phone compared to my computer. What's the reason?
Sometimes the internet on the mobile phone isn't as good, because even if you're on 5G, wherever you are doesn't mean there's 5G, even 4G. It could be 3G connection, right? So that's one. Two, not all sites are optimized for mobile devices because the technology, the OS system you're using, the browser that you're using is different. So what you want to do is use Google Page Speed, like we discussed. Remember how you shared Google Page Speed to everyone? It'll tell you what to fix on your website for mobile devices to make it load fast.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, if you just, yeah. So I'm definitely going to recheck that. So should we avoid having like too many like videos, like images on the front page? Will that be a factor or no?
Well, if you're going to use the images, there's nothing wrong with that, but have them lazy load. So like when you visit TechCrunch and you scroll more and more images load up, that's an example of lazy load. So that improves the experience.
Oh, wow. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Actually, I want to go back, and we're going to answer more of you guys' questions. I want to go back to Uber suggest a little bit because I think I saw someone's question. I think one question we have, like I work in alternative education, like pretty much everything I want to talk about, someone else has already talked about this. So like how can we like, choose the right keyword and also have the good content? Sometimes you read an article, there are so many keywords, but the content is just like fluff, right? You feel like, you haven't learned much. So how do you kind of intertwine like the good keywords and actually also good content? I think you will need both to rank high on Google. So share with us some ways that we can beautifully intertwine both.
Okay, so first let me break down my writing process. So the way I break down my writing process, first I do a headline, then I write the introduction, then the body, I'll outline the body, and then I'll write the conclusion. And then I go back in and I fill out the body. And I'll end my content with a question, so that way it encourages comments. And That's how I write my content, and I'll add visual images and media where it makes sense. Now, here's the thing. With your content, you're talking about a subject. So let's say I'm talking about marketing. I'll naturally include words like online marketing or digital marketing or SEO. And if I don't, that's okay. Whenever you search on Google, if you use the UberJS Chrome extension, it'll tell you keywords on the right side and all the popular ones. If it makes sense to add them, show it. If it doesn't, don't show it. Don't add them. Yes, you want to intertwine the keywords, but it has to be natural. Remember, if you can't get all the keywords in your post, that's okay. You can write many more posts on other keywords in the future. So you don't have to shove them all into one article. Do what's best for the user experience and don't just shove in keywords.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Is there an ideal length of article? We all know that long form content, they tend to get more shares, they perform better. So is there a recommended how many words? I don't know if that's a bad question that you recommend.
There's no bad questions. So first off, when I look at how many questions or words, my posts are typically 1,500 to 2,500, maybe 3,000 words, maybe average around 2,000. But it's not like I aim for 2,000 words. It's not that I aim for 1,000 or even 3,000 words. Write whatever you need to get the message across and get the message across better than anyone else. See, someone else can write a 5,000 word article, but if you can get the same article done in 100 words, you're better off. It's about user experience. For example, if I have an article on how to tie a tie, okay, because a lot of men don't know how to tie their ties, I would be better off if I created images that show you how to tie a tie or a video and have very little words. But because I provided a better experience to the users, it's okay. I'll win in the long run.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and it just reminds me, and I think you also mentioned this in your course. Even when we are using an image, we should make sure to add to describe the image, what the image is about for both for people with disabilities and also for SEO purposes. Is that right?
Yeah, and then I also use Accessibility, which helps make your website compatible for accessible websites or for disabled people. It technically makes your website compatible so disabled people have no issues browsing it. And even if it's bad or good for SEO, I look at that as it's good to have your website compatible for all audiences.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. For me, every time I upload a picture, I'm just really lazy. I don't add anything. I don't even change this 085, this number, whatever I downloaded from the website. So I'm going to make a change to see how that will affect my overall ranking. So here's a question from Jeffrey. Thank you for joining us live. And he asks, if you have a website that is connected to an online platform for membership to log in, how relevant is SEO for a site like that?
If you have an online platform, okay, so if you have a membership site, let's say like a Kajabi website where people go and they're paying for your courses, SEO on your courses and the inside don't matter because no one can see it unless you're a paying member. But here's what is important: to do SEO on your front end website, so that way you can blog, educate, and convince people to sign up for your courses. See, I have a blog on SEO and marketing, and a lot of people may sign up for a paid course that isn't available to Google and people can't find it. But because I put a lot of content out there that's free and it ranks high, it allows me to drive more users to my paid course.
Totally. And even just the SEO Unlocked, I shared the link earlier, everyone. That course, I'm sure is generating quite a few traffic to your website, right? It's so good. So much content, free content. I can't wait to actually finish the entire training. And so this is good. Peter, thank you for joining us live from Australia, 6 a.m. And so how many people actually think about the user experience when writing a blog? I don't think many people actually do that,
No, they don't. Most people think about how can they just finish writing it or adding keywords, but they don't think about user experience enough. And I think user experience is more important than anything else.
Actually, it reminds me, you also talk about, how important it is to actually match our keyword with the user experience. And can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Sure. So there's many different user experiences, and in SEO Unlocked, I talk about the Musketeer framework,
Mm-hmm.
and there's different users. There's the person searching. There's you yourself, the business owner. Um, there's even the influencer that you may want to target, and you want them to link to you and promote your content or whatever it may be. But there's different personas, and when you're creating content, you got to appeal to all persona types. It's not just about you, the business owner. What about the person searching that may want to buy from you? What about the influencer that you want to share your content so that way you can get more of the right people to buy from you? And in the course, again, it's free. It teaches you how to map out each persona and write your content for everyone.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thanks for answering that. So here's a question from my friend Dot. I don't know where she is in Spain, and she asked you when you are going to have a love mastermind. Definitely check out the free course, which is really good, really good. Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really tried out live masterminds or done any of that. A lot of people tell me, hey, do you have one? But I've thought about it. I've just never done it.
And so I want to ask you, and so you probably got asked this question a lot, and you have been on this journey, doing SEO, like producing content for quite a few years. Looking back on your journey, what were some like mistakes that you made, when you just got started on this, and you wish you knew, so we can learn from the lessons and mistakes you made, so we can avoid them.
So the big lesson I learned when I first started on my journey is I try to cheat the system and try to rank high on Google by doing stuff that I shouldn't have. Like you shouldn't try to buy links. And I did get rankings in the short run, but in the long run, I lost my rankings. And I would just focus on Google and do whatever to beat the system and game it. What I learned in the long run is the person who's going to win is the one who creates the best experience, the best product, the best service. And that's who Google wants to rank at the top. So don't focus on cheating the system. Focus on providing the best experience to users because Google wants to show the websites that people love the most at the top. That's the
Yeah.
biggest mistake I made when I was starting my career.
That's true. I think I even read articles. They were talking about, if you want to rank high on Google, you have to use, like, for example, 23 keywords in your article. It's like, wow, that's so interesting, like do all the tricks. Yeah, yeah. If everyone does that, it doesn't even make sense. Yeah, yeah,
Correct. And
yeah.
then you have articles and with just keywords that people read and be like, why are all these keywords here? It doesn't make sense.
And I think, do you feel like Google algorithm, like how often do they like update?
So they say they do around 8 algorithm updates per day, but most of them are really
Uh,
tiny. Maybe once every few months or once a quarter, they'll do a big update.
so how do you stay up to date?
I focus on the user. By focusing on the user and doing what's best for them, you may lose during some algorithm updates, you may gain during others, but in the long run, you should do okay because you're doing what's best for the user.
I love that. And you also talk about, topical authority. And I feel like for many people, at least when I got started on this journey, I feel like I need to talk about quite a few things. So it seems like you don't really recommend that. And what are some, in your opinion, so what are some really good ways that we can actually build topical authority?
Sure. So the easiest way to build topical authority is stick with one content type. Like if I'm a marketing website, do I talk about television ads, radio ads, SEO, digital marketing, social media, Facebook? There's too many. So why not focus on one topic, niche down in essence, as your friend from I think Spain just said. And a person before that said something, cheaters don't prosper. I love that as well. Uh, but in essence, when you focus into one big enough market, you're good enough. Like niche down, and then eventually, once you conquer that niche, you can expand. But there's nothing wrong with niching down,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's how you build that authority in that one space because everyone knows you. Like a doctor isn't a doctor. Some people are plastic surgeons. What does a plastic surgeon know about coronavirus? Maybe more than me, but they're not going to know as much as a doctor that focuses in infectious diseases, right?
That's right.
Um, a carpenter, just because you're a carpenter doesn't mean you know how to build a home, right? You may be good at making furniture. There's different areas within each field, and make sure you stick to what you know and niche down in that. And then once you dominate that industry, then you can expand.
Yeah, so a few of you joined late, and Neil mentioned earlier, if you show up on a regular basis, like a year or so, you can still rank like high, like the front page. I think that has given me lots of hope. Yeah. So here is a question from Betsy. Thank you for joining us live. And she asked, do ICO rules and strategies vary from platform to platform, like Google, YouTube, Pinterest? And of course, she's a huge fan. Yeah.
Thank you. I would first focus on Google. That's the main platform. YouTube is very similar, but the big difference is what does well in the first 24 hours does well in the long run from ranking on Google. Pinterest and the other platforms, I wouldn't worry about SEO. I would mainly focus on Google and YouTube, which is the second most popular search engine.
Should we also think about like how many shares we get on social media when Google look at our content? Do they also consider like, you have hundreds of shares on Facebook, for example, on LinkedIn? Do social shares also matter?
Not as much as most people think. Indirectly, they can help though. See, if you're going to write content, you're going to do well on Google. Why wouldn't you also try to do well on Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter and all the sites? You don't have to optimize just for Google. You can optimize for the reader, Google, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the list goes on and on. And the more you can get, the better. Why not? I wouldn't get fake shares. I wouldn't just have all my friends like something when they don't even care about it. But I would try to get real, genuine likes and engagement on social sites as well.
Yeah, that's
Because the more
why.
people that see your website, the better off you are. More of them will link to it. More of them will share it. Higher your rankings in the long run. It's more so indirect, the way it helps, but it's still helpful. Also helps build your brand as well.
Yeah, I think that's why I love. Too bad I couldn't show my Uber Suggest. And like on Uber Suggest, you actually have, I don't know which section, you can actually see how many like social shares, I think on Facebook and on Pinterest. And that feature has
That's the
really,
content ideas.
yeah,
So in
yeah.
Uber Suggest, just in the left navigation, you would click on content ideas, and then you can see all the social shares for any given keyword. But you're at the daily usage. Oh, you go to Google and just type in a keyword. Type in a keyword like marketing. Under each URL, you'll see social shares, Facebook and Pinterest. You see it? Or you can even stay there. Doesn't matter what keyword.
Okay.
But like you'll see it under
Oh,
each
yeah.
URL. So the first one has 2,426 and 9 Pinterest shares.
Wow. So this comes with the Uber Suggest Chrome extension that I downloaded, right? Yeah.
And you can even see who links to it. Like click the drop down under next to 530.
Oh,
It just
wow.
shows you all the sites linking to it.
Yeah, actually, I have a question about backlink, and they were really popular a few years ago. So are they still as powerful as they used to be, or like they don't really matter that much anymore?
They still matter. They still help a lot. The more backlinks you have in general, the better off you are.
Well, after I downloaded the Chrome extension, I was really impressed by just like how much information I'm actually receiving, which is really powerful. Oh yeah, you can see, right? So if an article gets lots of like links and social shares, that means this topic is really popular, and we should kind of look into this and talk about this, right?
Yep.
Interesting. So why like this one has more shares, but like in terms of ranking, it's like lower than this one. Why is that?
Because like that one, the what is marketing, the definition of marketing, has a more appealing title. Think about it.
Wow.
If you Google marketing definition, Investopedia also sounds like a stock website versus what is marketing, the definition of marketing, American Marketing Association.
That's interesting. Yeah,
So that also goes with topical authority, right? American Marketing Association is more of the authority on marketing than Investopedia.
100%. So like this is like so many like pieces to this entire puzzle, not just like one. You like overall, this is really powerful. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we are just like wrapping up, and like I want to really respect Neil's time, especially given he didn't really sleep much, and I want to shift our focus a little bit. And actually, my favorite article from you is not about ICO. It's actually this one. And my biggest regret in life is going to college. And I say this, And because, I'm a professor dropout, and I left academia because I see how broken the model is. Many of you here kind of know my story. I taught in the classroom for 10 plus years. And I want to ask you, my friend Julia McCoy, she and I
What'd you teach?
teach marketing, PR, communication. And my turning point was I realized I was teaching this, but I didn't practice this. And that was such a huge mistake. And then after I started practicing this, my teaching career actually like transformed. Not only did my students love my teaching a lot more, but there are also like more consulting and speaking, all those things. Very interesting. And so my friend Julia McCoy, she's a college dropout. She and I were actually writing a book together called Skip the College, Save the Tuition. So like you wrote that article about 4 years ago, and I want to ask you, what do you think about education, especially for those who are interested in becoming an entrepreneur like you, into business and marketing? Do you think a traditional 4 year college is necessary? Do you think what they are learning from school is actually preparing them for life and for their business for the future?
So for some careers and fields, a 4-year degree or an 8-year degree is needed. Like if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to school. Okay. And it makes sense. Like, how are you going to learn infectious diseases or whatever it may be unless you go to school and it's required by the government? Same with like being a lawyer. Now, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're going to learn more by just doing it yourself. And if you need help and you're getting stuck, you're better off just going to YouTube, searching for whatever you're stuck on, and there's a video that'll help you. And that you're better off doing that than you are just going on. You're better doing that than you are going and paying a ton of money for a 4-year college and learning outdated information. Now, some colleges may have amazing information and they could be great, but some of those colleges are really hard to get into and they're too expensive.
It's so great. They can probably learn a lot more, like seriously, and following you on YouTube than from like a professor who don't really practice. Actually, many of you were with me last week. I interviewed one of my friends. He literally walked out of a business school class because he asked the professor one question: what business do you have? He was like, I don't have a business. I wrote this book. So I think that's definitely a missing link. I just want to hear your perspective on this. So thank you so much for sharing. And it has been an incredible hour. And thank you, Neil. And thank you so much, everyone, getting up early on Thursday from literally all over the globe for joining us live. And let me make sure to share Neil's like training, and also share with us where can they learn more about you and from you and follow you and all the good stuff.
Yeah, you guys can find me at neilpatel.com. That's it. And you can just go to that website. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. I hope the training helps you guys out. Everything's free. And seriously, thank you guys very much.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope you can get some good sleep tonight. And I really appreciate your time. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us live. And I hope to see you next Wednesday, same time, same location. And we will be talking about voice search and how that is going to affect your content. Bye.